Hello there everyone, how are y'all doing? And welcome back to our channel. The ocean is a pretty mysterious place to say the least, provided that most of it hasn't already been explored. With mystery comes speculation, and with speculation come answers. Not only that, the deep waters are also ever changing. What scientists discovered underwater changes everything. Let's take a look into it right now. Number 6. A fishing season gets cancelled. The hardships and complexities within crabbing was made known to the world by the Discovery Channel's famous show Deadliest Catch. Unfortunately for landlubbers right now, that branch of fishing isn't in the best shape right now and is becoming irrelevant by each passing day. The reason that's happening is because of the nosedive the crab population has taken in recent times. It's been so extreme that the snow crab fishing season was literally brought to a halt. Why have the crabs disappeared, you ask? Well, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the main culprit behind this whole thing is climate change. Although the researchers aren't quite sure if the warming waters have prompted crabs to shift from their initial living area to someplace else and has introduced new diseases into their population as well as stopped the development of their larvae, no other explanation seems plausible except the changing climate. What the NOO says is that the average annual revenue of the crabbing industry is no less than a staggering $100 million. The fact that the industry has taken such a hit means that the coming seasons will also not be as great as the ones that have passed by. It's also possible that the whole industry will collapse on its head, bringing an end to the practice of crabbing. Number 5. The plight of the European eel. The European eel hasn't been doing too well when it comes to thriving in terms of population growth since the last few decades. This has gone so far that the species has been put on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's critically endangered list. People who are into this stuff are advised to bring in any new information about the fish and how it lives its life so it can be saved from going extinct. Sadly, naturalists as well as scientists aren't too fond of the European eel as far as anyone can remember. The reason behind this is that the eel's life cycle is pretty convoluted to say the least. This has made it hard for researchers to fully understand their reproductive biography as well as the suspected bizarre migrations the eels make throughout the Atlantic Ocean towards the end of their lives. Recently, however, scientists were able to put a dart in 5 European eels through satellite tags tracking their journey from the Azores to the Sargasso Sea. Before this discovery, it was known that these eels traveled to the Sargasso Sea as a result of a study done in 1922, but this new breakthrough has given researchers a new and improved perspective. However, according to the century-old study, it was believed that the Sargasso Sea was where the eels hatched, but the satellite tags proved otherwise. This remarkable finding has made it possible for scientists today to bring the species back from the brink of extinction. Number 4. A fish metropolis. Ocean expeditions are always a thing of fancy. They reveal things that most people never expected to see. One expedition to the bottom of the ocean, not far from the coast of Antarctica, revealed something shocking. The details of this expedition were published in a study last year in Current Biology. What researchers found were 60 million ice fish nets covering an area the size of an actual city. Yep, you heard that right. Previous sites discovered had a maximum of no more than 50 or 60 nets. Researchers were first interested in this section of the Weddell Sea because it featured an area with a considerable amount of upwelling where deep water moves up towards the surface. The bottommost layer of water at the seafloor is around 3 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than the surrounding area. The RV Polar Stern towed a large camera device across the seafloor, and what the camera caught on tape made scientists' jaws drop. The whole place was covered in fish nets that stretched as far as the camera could see. From this, it was inferred that the nesting ice fish were there due to the warmer water that helped incubate their eggs. How cool is that? Number 3. The world's largest plant found underwater. The world's largest plant found underwater. Have you ever heard of the seagrass bed of Poseidon's ribbon weed or Posidonia australis? Well, it was previously believed that they were a collection of plants jammed together, but not too long ago, in the coastal waters of Shark Bay, Australia, it was discovered that the whole thing is actually a single plant, contrary to popular beliefs. Believe it or not, the massive plant covers an area of no less than 77 square miles. This discovery was made after researchers surveyed the bed's genetic code to determine how genetically diverse the seagrasses were, and they found that every single shoot was genetically the same. In other words, they were all clones. Pretty rad, right? You know what this means? This means that the whole 77 square mile organism grew from one single seed into an extremely expansive bed. The growth rate of Poseidon's ribbonweed is no less than 14 inches annually. If we do some math, the one surveyed in Shark Bay took 4,500 years to grow as big as it did. Number 2. Volcanic eruption near Tonga. A few months ago, the highest plume ever recorded came from the underwater volcano Hunga Tonga Hunga Hape near Tonga. This may sound hard to believe, but the ash that erupted from the volcano shot 35 miles into the atmosphere. This eruption caused tsunami waves across the Pacific, as well as an atmospheric shock wave spanning the entire circumference of the planet many times over. Unfortunately, it also resulted in several deaths in Tonga, making it a truly devastating event. However, the remoteness of the eruption meant that it didn't result in as many deaths as one might expect from an eruption of that magnitude. The plumes were so elevated that they broke through the starting layers of the atmosphere and entered the mesosphere. This led scientists to tune into stationary weather satellites and capture the plumes' penetration into the atmosphere on camera. Still, to this day, not a lot is known about underwater volcanoes compared to the ones that rest on the surface. What we do know is that their eruptions can be just as devastating, which is of course counterintuitive, but true. Number 1. The remnants of a famous sunken ship. Who knows about the shipwreck of the Endurance? The story is pretty well known. Way back in 1915, Ernest Shackleton very famously led his crew to safety in the midst of a turbulent voyage to Antarctica after their vessel, the Endurance, sank to the bottom of the ocean after getting crushed by a floe of ice. What happened to the ship was the crux of a vast number of discussions throughout the last century. The fate of the ship was simply a mystery, as well as the topic of many conspiracy theories and things of that sort. However, this year, a team of passionate explorers found the location of the wreckage. The team on board the S.A. Agulhas II used 2 submersibles to survey the seafloor across an area of 150 square miles. After a couple of weeks of scouring, they actually found the Endurance almost 10,000 feet deep in the middle of the Weddell Sea. The sunken vessel was covered in anemones and was home to a number of surreal deep-sea creatures. This discovery was a pivotal point in deep-sea exploration, and as you would expect, it was celebrated all over the world. Truly, it was a wonderful find. And that about does it for this video. Here is a look at what scientists discovered underwater that changed everything.